Let me triple check, and I'm just going to also share it in our Facebook groups that we have for the podcast,
Okay.
which will be surprised because we normally do this on Wednesdays, so they're going to be like, why are you online now? Why are you
Okay.
live? And where is
Why are
Troy?
you here?
So, already just Andy posting it earlier got the podcast some followers, which was nice, but we are live.
Nice.
Yeah. It was this guy, Brian, was one of them. I I know a Brian, but he's extremely sexy and he doesn't do social much, so I don't think it's the one.
Does he look like Robert Downey Jr.?
He does look like Robert Downey Jr. Just a ball of sexy. All right, cool. We are live. Brandon can see that. We already have some viewers, so let's. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have a gaming podcast we're doing. I'm just sharing this out. We'll let people kind of come in as I share
Cool.
this, where I need to go.
All right.
But we are
All right.
live.
Okay, so I got Twitch up.
Yay.
Okay, cool.
I got the YouTubes up.
The YouTubes.
That's how you have to say it.
The
You
YouTubes.
have to sound like an old man. The internets. I was on the internets and
The YouTubes.
messing with the YouTubes, and I saw one of them memes.
I opened up the Googles.
The memes.
Yes,
All right, there we go. All right, so it looks like you're live on everything but Mixer right now.
Mixer's having an issue?
Doesn't show you being live yet.
Mm-mm.
Yep, it says you're offline.
Mixer streamer review required. Alright, let me fix it. Oh, I think it's because I wasn't logged into my Mixer.
That could be it.
Mm-hmm. So, give me a sec while I do that.
Cool.
Thank you, though, Brandon, for letting me know that.
That's what I'm here for. Tech support.
You really are tech support. Now you are tech supporting even on the show. Boom, boom, clickety click clack.
Watching the live.
All right, Brandon, you let me know if now we are Mixer live.
There we go. It's live.
It's live on Mixer?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Mixer might take it 30 to 40 seconds before it kicks in. There's like a 30 to 40 second delay
Yeah.
in some cases, depending on how it's set up. But I should get the notification when you go live. It should pop up, but I'm refreshing the page anyway.
Boom. Okay. Yeah,
Still
it'll tell me
nothing.
actually also on this side when I'm live, and right now it's stuck on saving data. So Mixer may be the only one that I just leave for the next show. To
Okay.
figure out.
Yeah, it's still nothing so far. But you are live on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook.
Wow.
I'm lurking in all three.
Nice. Yeah, I'll save it for next time because apparently I gotta go through the Mixer like.
Oh, the whole
Hi, welcome
what
to
is it?
Mixer.
stream key thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not the
All right.
stream key. I already got the stream key.
Oh, okay.
I should have had it set up. I don't know. We'll just go live everywhere else. But we are live everywhere else. I'm sorry. And
Yep.
Belinda already left a comment in the chat, which is super awesome.
She's probably saying, "Shut up and just talk about games already. You guys are
I know,
messing
right?
around with
Like,
how
let's
this
talk
stuff
about Animal
looks."
Crossing.
Exactly. That's what we really want to talk about. Never mind what Brandon's here for. But yeah, real quick intro, guys. Welcome to our unnamed podcast.
It has a name.
Andy did suggest a name, and I think it was glorious. Two guys, one podcast. If you have an adult mind, then you are loving that name. And if you haven't, go Google.
No,
Two Girls,
Don't.
no, don't. Nobody needs to see that. There is nobody on Earth that needs to see that
Oh,
video.
no.
Everybody at least once in their life needs to see that. At least once. So,
Do it on your deathbed.
That's
Do it on your
terrible.
deathbed because that'll
Don't
be the last thing
encourage
you
to see
ever
such
need to see in
things.
your life.
Oh
Your
my
life
god.
will be
My
complete.
camera.
Look at that.
Let's go in,
You
you're
shocked
dropping.
her camera.
Yeah,
You shocked
exactly.
her camera with what you were about to say.
It so shook. It got shook. Why did Brandon?
It was shook.
This is what I hate about Skype. I don't know why it just shrunk Brandon.
Oh, I got small. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, a little bit better.
If you talk and move, it usually brings you back. So, if you don't know who is here with me, we have the lovely Brandon here. Oh, I love that I can do this. We have Brandon next to me here, and just on the other side of Brandon there,
high five.
As you can see, that is the lovely Andy. I went up for the high five, and you left me hanging. That is Andy.
I can only see half of you.
What? Oh, me? That's
yeah.
On Skype. That's because Skype is from my webcam. But if you look at the actual stream, I'm 100% in frame of.
There you go.
Yeah. So see, now I'm in your frame. Now.
Yeah.
You can see my chin for the remainder of the Skype.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is our gaming podcast crew, folks. We have a lot of time to play games now. That is why this got off the ground. Brandon has been wanting to do this gaming podcast again for so long, but we just I haven't had time to play it. Being 100% honest, I haven't had time to play. But since there's a little thing going around outside.
I think the last time we talked about doing this and actually did something about it was it. No, it was Red Dead a year ago when it initially released on console. So here we are. A year, 3 months later, and finally getting it going.
Yeah. And it should be live on Facebook, so if you guys want to share it from y'all, you can now.
I just shared it right now.
Yay! Awesome. Great. Good. Then we're in business. So let's get down to what everybody's here for, really. Never mind what Brandon says. The game to play and the reason we've been totally fine. Andy and I have had zero issues with this quarantine. In your house order, stay indoors, whatever.
I was made for this.
I'm super extroverted, but you go do you, Brandon. We are going to talk about Animal Crossing.
Yay!
Released last Thursday, and if you haven't played it or haven't heard of it, I highly recommend this game. I'm going to let Andy talk about her gaming experience first and what she thought of the game. And then I will give my opinion and 2 cents because we both have been playing in excess, I think, of, I want to say 30 to 40 hours in a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably more than that. I'm just lowballing it. But yeah, Andy, what did you think of the game?
God, I was waiting for it for so long, and then I remember because I started working at GameStop in October, and then I think they had the case out for Animal Crossing New Horizons, and I was like, no way, oh my god! And then after working there for a while, I was like, are they gonna come out with an Animal Crossing Switch? What's gonna happen?
Yeah,
because I need it. So and as it got closer, I'm just I need Animal Crossing. I'm getting desperate for Animal Crossing. If anything goes wrong in my life, the only thing that can cure it is Animal Crossing. And then when all of this stuff went down and they said, we're going to be stuck at home, I was like, Animal Crossing. Please do not close GameStop until I get Animal Crossing.
We were literally worried about the same thing. Belinda was like,
yeah.
If they close it, oh my God. Because the console came out a week before the game did. So the special edition console, you got yours. We went to your store to get ours. And then it's like, hey, you see this beautiful, amazing device? Wait a week.
Did they actually when did they announce that it was coming out a week before the game? I'm just curious. Had that always been the plan, or was it kind of a spur of the moment thing? Did they announce it at the Animal Crossing Direct that they did a week or two before it?
I'm not sure when they made that decision, but I want to stab the person who made it.
Well,
I know, I thought it was weird that they were going to release it a week before the game, because I was like, why not just release them together? It's a whole experience.
Yeah, my daughter wanted one, and I didn't realize that they were going to do it the week before. So, I'm at work, and she messages me, and she's all like, hey, the Best Buy down the street has 4 of them. Can you go pick one up? So, during my lunch break, I'm running around trying to find one. No place has them. They're sold out everywhere. I got home that day, and I checked Best Buy one more time, and I was like, holy, they have them in stock. So I tried to order one, and as soon as I hit purchase, they were like, due to supplies for cancel. You know, we
Yeah.
can't process the order. So then I go, you know what? Let me check something. So I immediately check on Amazon, and sure enough, they had them in stock. I ordered one, and it came that Saturday. It came like the next day.
Oh, that's
You
good.
got
But,
lucky,
like-
bro. 'cause
but,
all I
like-
found
Yeah.
on Amazon and eBay were $500 markup.
Yeah.
Yeah, like less than an hour later, like Amazon was gone. Like they were
Yeah.
sold out. So like I checked it right as somebody flipped the switch and said, "Hey, we have X number in stock. Go ahead and sell them."
Yeah. Because
Lucked
I
out on
know.
Don't
Think
worry, Brandon.
Geek
You're
had
gonna see
'em?
yourself get tiny and then big really quick.
I know, like, before they released the console, Think Geek announced that they were going to have them. And we didn't know that they were going to get them. We found out on Facebook that they were going to get them. And apparently, the Ingram Mall location had
Yeah.
people waiting since midnight.
Damn.
Yeah.
Everybody getting the virus.
So we were, like, when we opened that morning, like, we got ours, like, the ones who pre-ordered it. So
Yeah.
me and then, like, another person, and then you came in to get yours.
Yeah, I literally showed up when it opened. Like they were open
Yeah.
and I was in
I-
the door.
You turned right when I was unlocking the door.
That's how on it we were. Belinda wasn't gonna let me be anything but on time for this thing.
No.
She was
Like,
as
that was a
excited as
console,
anyone.
like, oh yeah, like, I felt like I was desperate for that console. I needed that console.
Yeah, playing it on a regular Switch, I feel like a poor person. It's just in the forms of Switchville. It's really bad because me and the boys all use the same Switch. She has that
Yeah.
Switch for her.
For
game,
her.
just
Yeah.
her. So she doesn't have to share it. She doesn't because she wasn't going to share it. So if we wanted to play
No.
Animal Crossing, we were going to need to have our own Switch, and we do. We have our own Switch and our own game, and it's cool. And I can't say enough good things about it. But what did you think of the gameplay, Andy? And just
I loved
playing
it.
the game itself.
I loved it. It brought back so many memories because I would play Wild World on my DS. And the one experience that I never got to have that a lot of my friends did was seeing Wisp in your town. And I never, ever got to see Wisp. For the years that I played it, I never saw him. And then they said, like, oh, he only comes out at 4 a.m. And I'm like, 4 a.m.? I don't know if I'm going to be awake at 4
Shit to
a.m.
do tomorrow.
Yeah, and I was so sad because I felt like that's one experience I wanted to have. And then playing this one, Wisp came out like around 8 p.m. and I was like, oh
I
my
have
god,
yet to
this is
see it.
him.
I
Like,
have
this
yet-
is him. I love it. But it brought back a lot of memories, so
That's awesome. It is a nostalgic game because we played it
Yeah.
on the platform before, and
Mhm.
I literally have a gold nugget just waiting for to see the Wisp so he can like double what the gold nugget's worth. Yeah, because the Wisp, Brandon, for what it is, it's like the will o' the wisp in the forest,
To
like a
be
little
like-
forest ghost, a
Doubles
forest
your
ghost,
money.
if you will. Yeah, it doubles your money or grants
Mhm.
wishes. It's pretty cool, but
Nice.
the
Yeah.
thing I love about Animal Crossing is it's like The Sims, in which
Mhm.
you can like take care of your stuff. You can
Yeah.
build up your town, build up your house, pay your bills, help your neighbors, but
Mhm.
it's based on our time. So you set your time of
Yeah.
day, your time zone, your hemisphere, and the weather.
Mhm.
Spring weather during the spring, summer during the summer, nighttime.
Mhm.
It goes
Yeah.
dark. Creatures. There are certain creatures you can only see at night. There are certain creatures you only see in the
Mhm.
morning. Certain fish.
yeah.
It's really dope. It's a simple experience, but it's
Yeah.
very fulfilling, and there's
Yeah.
plenty to do. I loved it. I loved every bit of it.
I love it. It's so good. I love it so much.
I could
So
play
in
it.
case, so in case nobody's wondering, I have not played it. So there,
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here nodding.
Yes, Brandon's
And
time
everything
is
just
coming.
kind of-
Brandon's
It's
time is
coming.
is coming. But yeah, Animal Crossing is a game especially
Your
made
Switch.
for
What?
this stay-at-home
Switch.
order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. you
Also, try catching tarantulas.
can- yes. Good luck. There's an entire island of tarantulas. By the way, Brandon. Ooh. That was
Ooh,
cool.
there it is.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So
but
for anybody
yeah.
who has, I'm gonna try to see if I can angle it, but there's
Yeah.
like a print. Yeah. I'm not sure if my
There you go.
I
That's
Yeah.
may have to. So yeah. So She's got it there too.
Oh,
But yeah, there's a
nice.
pattern.
It's embossed.
Hers looks better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Embossed. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, it's embossed with the characters and like the little trees and like the lighthouse from the game.
I find it funny that in the game you're the only human on the island of animals.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Yeah.
cool. You're the only human there, and in the museum, when you find the ape, like you can walk up to the human area, and it shows the lineage from ape to human, and then like cow to the other characters. that
Now,
are
some of
on
the stuff I do know because my daughter showed it to me. She's playing it.
Mhm.
She can have it. The Animal Crossing games. Maybe it's just because I've never played it, but they've never been something that I myself have really wanted to play.
Yeah.
And I can't really explain why. It's just I never tried it, and since I never tried it, it was never something that was really kind of on my radar.
Yeah, I think that's the same with me and the game we're going to be talking about at the end that everybody's excited for in April. That's very much the same. But this one's cool for the
Spoilers.
stay-at-home order.
Yeah.
Because you can play all day long and get a different experience literally every 2 or 3 hours. You get new creatures, new things to do, new resources, and you can fly to other islands. So I can fly to Andy's island, and I can go to her town and get resources from her, fish in her pond, walk in her house. So yeah, no, it's a lot of fun.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, you can just walk into my house like no big deal. Yeah.
Just walk in like I own the place, and
Kick the door down. What up?
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
She doesn't even
exactly.
have to be home. She could be fishing, and I walk in her house and lie in her bed and sit on her couch, and it's. it's a
Okay,
fun-
and if
Okay,
you
and
pre-ordered the Animal Crossing
Back.
Switch, you can get the Animal Crossing Switch in the game.
yeah, and
I thought that was so cute.
it was
That's cool.
cute. It's super dope. And someone in the comments said that you need Nintendo Online, though. Yes, you do, but Nintendo Online is like 30 something bucks for the entire year.
It is very inexpensive.
Yeah, I bought that for a family pass. Like I think it's like 6 different accounts on one pass was like $34. So a very worthwhile investment in the Nintendo Pass.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our 2 cents on Animal Crossing. Highly recommended. What would you rate the game number wise, Andy, if you had to give it a number?
Oh goddamn!
1 out of 5.
No, I'm gonna say it's gonna be a 5 out of 5.
Oh, 5 out of 5. I'm gonna have to agree. I'm gonna have to agree. 5 out of 5. Animal Crossing. It's a must play, especially right now that you're stuck in home and you want something to do with your time. Get it, play it, buy the online so you can play with friends. You can socialize there. You can have birthday parties. They come on your birthday and they sing your birthday and they give you cake and all kinds of cool shit.
That's awesome.
So the
That's
game
cool.
knows.
Yeah.
The game knows because you enter in all this information, so it knows like when your friends' birthdays are and things like that. So, highly recommend the game. But if you like a slightly more grown-up taste and you want to play something a little more Hellfire-ish and aggressive,
Something more aggressive.
yeah, definitely more aggressive. Oh shit, he's like,
Aggressive.
getting ready for it. Look, he's
Prepare
prepping.
yourself,
Yes,
Brandon.
that is exactly.
Yes.
So if you can't guess from his helmet, Brandon reviewed because we chose to review Animal Crossing because that's what Andy and I were excited.
That's what
about.
we've been doing.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing with our life. But Brandon chose to do a different game. Brandon chose to review Doom Eternal. So he will give us his 2 cents on the game that he selected to review. So what did you think of Doom Eternal, Brandon? Give us your thoughts on this game.
So
Yes, tell us.
it's Doom. I mean, what else more can be said? This review is going to be considerably shorter than what the Animal Crossing one was, just because, I mean, there's really not a whole lot to talk about it. You're given weapons, you're pointed in a direction, and you just destroy everything that's in your way. It's a lot of fun. It's fast. Doom, in my opinion, kind of lost its way a little bit years ago when they released Doom 3. It became a little bit more horror focused, jump scares, stuff kind of sneaking around in the shadows trying to hide and sneak out and scare you.
Yeah.
Then when they kind of relaunched Doom in 2016, I think it was, with 2016's Doom, it was a callback to the original PC run, gun, shoot, destroy, maim, pillage, plunder, and all that fun stuff. So like your weapons don't reload. You just have 150 rounds in your machine gun. You're running around blowing stuff away. You got 22 rounds in your shotgun. You're running around blowing stuff away. There is no reload. When you run out of ammo, it switches. It switches to another weapon.
Yeah.
Now, with 2016's Doom, they tried to keep it very Doom, while also kind of throwing in a few story elements in there. Not as many as one might like. Doom basically is an arcade shooter. You run around, you shoot stuff, and there's not a whole lot.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot more to it. Doom Eternal, on the other hand, takes that same gameplay, those same mechanics where you're just running around laying waste to everything. And so far, I haven't finished it yet, but so far they've crafted a very interesting story. And the reason why I say interesting, and I really don't want to say this because it is kind of getting into spoiler territory a little bit, but there's a interaction that you have with some characters that you're trying to kill in the game, and you see something. They show something to one of these characters, and it starts to make you kind of question now, like where does this game kind of fall in with the overall kind of like Doom story?
Yeah.
And the game's got secrets, it's got unlockables, it's got hard stuff you have to try to find. And then once you've played all the levels, they've done this really cool feature where they pick certain levels. So far it seems like monthly, where they like remix the level up, so you can play through it again and get a completely different experience while you're doing it. Stuff will be in different places, there'll be different enemies. The other cool thing is you can activate cheat codes. Now, these aren't cheat codes how they used to be, where you punch in a code or you punch in, up, down, left, right, whatever. You find these hidden cheat codes in the game world, and then you can activate them before you go back and play these levels again. And there are things like infinite lives, unlimited ammo. As you play through the game, you get certain power-ups in certain areas that make you faster, stronger, stuff like that. You can just have those on the entire time that you're playing and just running around destroying everything in your path. Which just makes replaying the levels a lot of fun, especially if you're playing through them again a second time because you missed some of the secrets and stuff the first time. The only thing that I wish that they had done is there's one secret hidden in a couple of levels. It's a key. There's 6 of them total in the game. When you collect all 6, it unlocks another weapon that's supposed to be like super powerful and stuff like that. If you play through the levels with the cheat codes, you can't get those keys anymore. That's the only thing that they take away from you while playing through with the cheat codes. Everything else, everything else you can still collect, you can still get. It's just those keys, and those keys will unlock gates that take you to a portal that will take you into a level that's an extreme challenge. It will test everything that you've learned up to that point, and in some cases you haven't learned yet, because there was one gate that I went through at one point where I encountered a boss type level before I actually encountered that boss in the game. And so without knowing how to defeat this thing, I just kind of had to stumble through and figure it out on my own. And then when I finally encountered the boss, they were like, oh, you have to do this, then you do this, and you do this. But ultimately, I mean, if you're looking for a fun time just to waste a few hours here and there, Doom Eternal, it's a lot of fun. It's gory. It is very, very gory. And it's just a lot of fun.
Nice.
It really is.
What would you rate it out of 5?
Can I do points? Can I do like half points?
Yeah, you could totally.
Yeah.
Points. Yeah.
So the
game's
that's
just 5 out of 5 good. That's the only reason we gave it.
So the game's not perfect, and as Juan and I have talked before, for me to rate a game at like a 5 or a 10, like there has to be absolutely nothing wrong with it. It has to be the pinnacle of game design, gameplay, whatever.
Didn't you Red Dead?
I think
I'm pretty sure you rated that a 10 when we played it. you were like, everything in this game is flawless, pretty much. If not, you gave it like a 9.5.
I think I gave it a 9 or a 9.5. Because I gave God of War a 9. Which God of War is the closest thing to a perfect game I think one can get to.
Yeah.
But with Doom, I'd probably say a 4.5. There are some areas where there's this one enemy. He's not even a boss enemy. He is the bane of my existence in that game. He is tougher than some of the bosses that I've faced in that game. And his name escapes me at the moment. I should have written it down. But if you've played the game, you probably know which one. I think it's the Marauder. The Marauder is... I hate that thing because you can't get too far from it.
The tarantula in Animal Crossing, I get it.
Yeah.
Oh God.
You can't get too far from him because he'll start throwing energy attacks at you, and he has this stupid little cat wolf thing that will come chasing you. If you get too close, he'll shotgun blast you in the face to push you away. So you have to maintain a certain distance, but you can't shoot him because he has a shield. You have to wait till his eyes glow green, and then there's a half second where you have to react and hit him before he attacks you. Otherwise, he does a pretty substantial amount of damage to you.
That's a great game for you. Hard pass.
He's not the reason why I would bring it down, but just some of the design elements in the game. And again, I haven't finished it yet, but right now I'd probably give it a 4.5, which is almost perfect.
Nice. That is awesome way to kill time. So it's not just video games that were happening in the gaming world. Consoles also came out with their specs. We got the look at the next gen console, and if you guys are watching the stream, Xbox Series X is the first one we're going to talk about, and I'll actually be able to pull up right now a kind of a look at the bullet points of what we're getting in the Xbox Series X. So we're going to have 12 teraflops, variable rate shading, hardware accelerated DirectX ray tracing, quick resume for multiple games. And I actually saw that feature, quick resume. It's pretty fucking awesome. Smart delivery is another feature that it's going to have. And as you can see, the look at the Xbox Series X there. This is a pretty powerful mid PC. It's good, and it's good because it brings it to people who aren't going to build their own rig. Like Brandon builds his PC. He has everything the way he wants it. He knows what he's going to do with it. People aren't just going to do that. So if I want ray tracing, I'm going to buy the Xbox Series X, because that if you don't know what that feature is, Brandon, could you explain what ray tracing and those features are a little better?
Sure. So ray tracing is a way of rendering light in a game that is more realistic than previous rendering engines can. And you're putting me on the spot here. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but basically what it does is it traces every single light ray that would be coming into an environment, and then calculates how that light would bounce off of different surfaces and reflect things, and reflect the image and the light in different ways. A good example is typically if you can't see it on your screen, the game no longer renders it. It frees up system resources for the game to run better. What ray tracing does is if there's a reflection or something behind another item or an object. A perfect example of this is a demo that I saw with Battlefield 5 before it came out, where the original way of rendering some of this stuff is, and if you can use your imagination and picture this, there's a puddle on the ground and a truck in front of it, and then there's a tree behind that truck. The reflection wouldn't show the tree because it's not being rendered because it's behind the truck. Well, what ray tracing does is it's bouncing all these virtual light rays around, and it's hitting that tree, and it's bouncing off the puddle and back up into the character's eye or to the screen,
Mhm.
and it's rendering that. It's actually showing that.
Mhm.
It's another way of just doing reflections and lighting
Yeah, added
in a
realism
game.
is what it brings. It brings a added
Yeah.
realism to it, and the graphics look amazing. I think we all were watching some YouTube footage of them playing. Quick resume is a feature I really like. What that allows you to do is if I'm playing, let's say I'm playing Doom Eternal, and in it, but I'm kind of getting tired of playing that, and I want to switch to
Mhm.
State of Decay. So I can switch to State of Decay, and it uploads like that, like super fast uploads. Shit, I
Mhm.
forgot there was something I wanted to do in Doom Eternal, so I switch back to Doom Eternal, and it resumes just like that. Already loaded for you in seconds. Your games, you can switch from one game to another. There's not those long
Mhm.
load screens that you normally get now in the modern day console, where you gotta go, you gotta shut off the
Yeah.
game, you gotta select your next game, you gotta wait for that
Mhm.
game to load. With the Xbox Series X, you're gonna get that quick boom. Be
Yeah.
able to jump from game to game. And with a person like me who has ADHD and can't just make choices,
Yeah.
that's a good option to be able to jump in and out of games to play. What would you say? Is your most exciting feature about the Xbox Series X, Andy?
Okay. Well, now that you bring that up, because I hate having to switch through games. Honestly, like I'll be playing one, and I'm just like, do I want to switch to another one? Because I don't want to
Is
take the
it worth
time, go
it?
find the game. Yeah, like, is it worth it?
Yeah.
But then, like, sometimes, like, I'll go back to what I'm playing, and I'm like, this was a mistake. Like, I should have went to play something else.
Yeah, no, that's why I use that example, because I do that a lot. We were
Yeah.
jumping around the other day. Brandon, my brother, and I were playing online, and we literally went from State of Decay to Sea of Thieves to Halo
Yeah.
Wars or something like that. So yeah, something like that would be really cool to allow us to jump in and out of games. And I think the Xbox
Yeah.
Series X has a lot of power, and it's
Mhm.
going, at least for people who aren't familiar with making their own,
Be right back.
yeah. To people who aren't familiar with making their own PCs. Now, if you
Yeah.
are familiar with making your own, well then, shit, you gotta. This is gonna be okay for you, because the technology that's in here, for the
Mhm.
most part, is already available to
Yeah.
to people who play on PC. But
Mhm.
that isn't the only console that showed its stuff, and it was surprising, because not only did they show the specs, they actually showed the inside
Yeah.
of the gut to the Xbox Series X, which companies usually don't want to do, because they're like
Don't do. Yeah.
super secretive about their stuff. It's like, no, they're gonna steal my
Mhm.
whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, Xbox did it. They apparently don't give a fuck. Try and steal it. Try
No.
and cop it. Now, they don't
Right.
have the exclusives that PlayStation does. I'll give them that.
Mhm.
PlayStation has far superior exclusives, and we're not going to have exclusives on Xbox for, I think Brandon was talking about, 2 to 3 year wait before we get a good Xbox exclusive to come. So even though we're going to have a new console, we're not going to have an Xbox
Yeah.
exclusive to play on it. But I think that's balanced out by the Xbox Game Pass. If you have it, you have
Hey, Wand.
Yeah.
of indie games
You-
to play.
Your audio on Facebook, I think, is having some issues.
I knew it. Why only on Facebook? It's probably this entire stream. There we go. I'm just gonna do that and hope for the best. You guys may hear me extremely loud, but for some reason now the podcast doesn't, or this. I gotta figure that out. I don't know why it's not reading me. I give up.
Back at the chair.
Completely give
That's
up.
exactly what it is here.
What? There you go. Fixed it. Brandon looks like the claw from Inspector Gadget. Nice. All right. So, going
Right
on.
there.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. So, going
perfect.
from
Oh, it's all
there
blurry.
to the PS5. The PS5
hold on.
specs. What? You got something to say on the Xbox?
I just want to talk about it a little from a.
From a. Oh,
Sorry.
wow. He muted
Sorry.
himself. How did he do that? That's
I've
impressive.
got a.
Oh, okay, cool. I was
Got
like,
a
he
button
just
on
muted
my-
himself to yell at his son. Like, he was like, you little shit, man. And
Yeah.
none of it
No.
was picked up. That was amazing.
No. I wasn't doing that. The dog is losing his mind right now, running around playing and stuff. But anyway, no. Just from a PC gamer standpoint, so I'm trying to refrain from bashing on the system because I've had kind of a not a come to Jesus moment, but more of an understanding that I get it. Not everybody wants to, has the means to build their own PC.
Yeah.
And whereas the specs on here look nice, most of these specs, give or take a couple here or there, because you also have to keep in mind that the memory that both of these systems have, both of them are going to have 16 gigs. That's shared memory between the system resources and then the video card's resources. You look at most high-end PCs, like my video card, for example. I'm fortunate enough that I actually have a ray tracing card. I've got a 2080 Ti in my system, which is like one of the, if not the top of the line video card that one can have currently. That alone has 11 gigs on it, and then my computer itself has 32 gigs. So as far as system resources, Windows and all the operating system and the game can pull from that pool, and then just video rendering alone has 11 gigs that it can play with. And when you're talking about real-time ray tracing, I'd like to see an in-game demo of how developers are going to be using the ray tracing.
Yeah, because all we got was test footage.
Because there's several different levels when it comes to ray tracing and what it can do. You can do it very subtly, kind of the way that Call of Duty Modern Warfare did, where it's just kind of like better shadow effects and stuff like that, but they kind of stayed away from the reflections. It's mostly used with the light. Or are they going to go full in and be like, hey, we're going to give you the full ray tracing suite? Because they haven't really said how developers are going to use this or to what degree they're going to be able to do ray tracing.
Yeah.
They've just said, yeah, it's going to have ray tracing, and then they just kind of like look at each other and they're like, yeah,
that's a thing, right?
Yeah,
it's a thing.
Yeah. So I'm more interested in a demo. Have them, see. And what's funny is some of my buddies at work and I were actually talking about this. Now would be the perfect time. Perfect time for Ubisoft to bring back the Splinter Cell series, because that game was all about stealth and hiding in the shadows. And come on, the PS5 and the Xbox Series X are going to have ray tracing technology in it. You've got modern PCs that are running ray tracing technology. It's like a no-brainer. Bring back Splinter Cell. That game was all about hiding in the shadows.
Now you have actual shadows and shading and better lighting.
Yeah.
So, I would caution people to get too excited about just raw specs, because realistically, these are specs from a high-end PC from a couple years ago.
Yeah.
You start looking at high-end PCs today that are running 16 cores, 24 cores, that with a 2080 Ti and 30 gigs of RAM with a 2 terabyte SSD built into the system.
Yeah.
Now you're talking, multi-$1,000 PC systems. However, that being said, Xbox Series X and the PS5, I would predict are going to probably stay between the $450 and $550 range, because if they start pricing them any higher than that, you're going to start outpricing people. Look at what happened with the PS3. It launched. It was $600. That PS3, I don't know if you can see it, but that one right down there, I know my background's blurry. That is
it's blurry.
That is a launch PS3, the 60 gig model. The thing was $600 when it launched, and I think that hurt Sony. So, but we were about to switch to the PS5 and talk about it.
And Brandon, if you could do what you do and pull up the spec for that, because I was unable to find reliable specs.
I've actually got both specs listed right here side by side. So it's basically the exact same CPU. It's got a slightly weaker GPU but slightly higher clocked GPU.
Mhm.
So the Xbox Series X is supposed to be running at 12 teraflops. The PS5 is running at 10 and a quarter teraflops. However, the PS5's GPU will be running at 2.23 gigahertz, whereas the Series X is running at 1.825 gigahertz. So technically, the PS5's GPU is slightly better because it's actually able to process more stuff quicker. But again, how the developers use it is going to be how they're able to do what they do.
Yeah.
It's still got 16 gigs. But this time it's all running on a 256-bit 448 gigabyte memory bandwidth, and then an 825 gig SSD. I want to come back to that. Let's see here. It's got its own user expandable NVMe SSD slot, so you can just buy an SSD off of Amazon, throw it into the system, and it should work.
Yeah.
Which is different from the Xbox Series X, which is selling a memory card now. It's a 1 terabyte SSD. It looks like an old PS2 memory card. Just slide it into the back of the system and expand it up to 2 terabytes for the Xbox Series X games to take advantage of. Now, that's not saying you can't plug a 5 terabyte SSD into it via one of the USB ports and have access to that, but there's certain features that the Series X games will take advantage of with that 1 or 2 terabytes of SSD storage. And then PS5 is also going to have a USB hard drive support, and both systems are going to feature a 4K UHD Blu-ray player, which I think is going to help bring the cost of 4K TVs and everything down, because now more people are going to have access to 4K Blu-rays. Same thing as with the PS3 and Blu-ray players. You know, for most people, that was their first Blu-ray player. I know it was mine. So now we're getting 4K Blu-ray players into people's homes and stuff like that. I mean, realistically, both of these systems are pretty much identical. It just simply comes down to software features that the systems are going to have and utilize, and then what the developers are able to do with it. But like I said, that internal custom 825 gigabytes of storage, I would be really interested to know why it's 825 and not just a full terabyte. Now, they could also be talking about, it's 825 gigabytes of storage because the other, 175 gigabytes is being used by the system. So it may be a 1 terabyte, and then the system's utilizing 125 gigs of that, which is weird. Now, I watched the very, very bland PS5 tech dive.
It was so bad.
And what they're doing with their custom SSD is actually pretty interesting. They're actually kind of using it as extra memory for some games. Apparently, their SSD has a bandwidth comparable to standard GDDR6 memory that they're able to load assets into it and out of it just as fast as they can with RAM. So they're going to that gives the system the ability to load larger assets into the system memory, and then slightly smaller assets can be pulled from that SSD quicker to be able to load faster or just stream in items for the game faster. So imagine playing like Red Dead 2 on this, because I'm sure they're going to re-release the game on PS5 and Xbox Series X. I think they'd be dumb not. Not only will the game potentially load faster, but assets will load into the game quicker. So as you're riding through the open plains or whatever, the trees are gonna load in quicker and just stream in quicker and whatnot. Or at least
our days of load screens are almost gone, folks.
Almost. I still think we're gonna see load screens.
Because the asset packages are going to get bigger, and they're going to build more complex games to take advantage of all this new stuff. So, for the time being, loading screens are
moving into the multiple terabyte range. That gives the developers now the ability to make 8K texture packs that they can release to games, which, I mean, on that note, we may still see the same loading times and screens. It's just now the stuff that's loading into it is going to be much cleaner and much crisper.
Nice. So fun stuff, guys. So that's the PS5 and the Xbox. They're pretty much the same thing. Brandon says if you can't build yourself a damn PC for the same price, he'll even help you build it.
Now, I don't know about same price.
What is like $500 for one of these consoles, and you can get the majority of the stuff we're talking about in that price range fairly. Not only that, you get an upgradable unit. So.
Yeah, the only thing that I can see pricing somebody out of that range as far as a PC goes, for example, Xbox Series X GPU, 12 teraflops, 1.825 gigahertz. My 2080 Ti pulls down 14 teraflops, if I remember correctly. I've got it overclocked at 2.05 gigahertz.
Yeah, but your 2080 Ti costs more than both these consoles combined.
Right. But that's exactly what I'm saying. If you wanted comparable specs in a PC, the video card alone is going to run you $1,200 to $1,400.
Damn Bitcoin miners.
So so you may be able to get an 8-core non-hyper-threaded processor, 16 gigs of RAM. RAM's getting cheaper, although that may change now given current world events. 1 terabyte SSD. You might be able to do all of that for $300-$400, but as soon as you try to throw in a 2080 Ti into one of these things to get comparable specs, especially with ray tracing, hardware ray tracing, not software, that instantly jumps it up $1,000 at least. So if you had the money, I always suggest building a PC, because not only do you get these same specs, but you can upgrade throughout the years and you have the full functionality of a PC. And I mean, if you're a controller person, you can always play on controller, because that's what I play with in some games. So
it hooks up to PC just fine, and so you could play your Xbox controller right on there. So
I mean, you can even use a PS4 controller, but yeah.
Now that's it for the consoles, guys. We have, because we're inside for the foreseeable future. Like, we're not going outside anytime soon. As much as we'd like to think that's going to happen, probably not. What are y'all looking forward to in April? I think we all are looking forward to the same game for different reasons. Andy, what are you looking forward to in April most?
Honestly, from what I've seen at work, I'm really looking forward to the Predator game.
Nice.
I don't, because I've seen some like previews for it on the PS4 that we have at work, and I'm like, this looks pretty good. Am I gonna buy it when it comes out? Probably not, because I'm probably still gonna be hooked on Animal Crossing.
Same.
Exactly.
Yeah, no. But all right, so Predator comes out in April, guys. If that's something that you guys are interested in, that'd be a cool game to play. What about you, Brandon? What are you looking forward to in April?
So there's a couple of games coming out in April, but there's one game in particular that drops April 10th. Hopefully physical copies go out on time. If not, I may be switching my pre-order to a digital one. Final Fantasy VII. And I'm just going to refer to it as that, because I don't care if it's a remake or not. It is Final Fantasy VII, or at least the first third, maybe the first half, because they are releasing the game in pieces. This is the first part. So the original Final Fantasy VII was on 3 PS1 discs, 3 PlayStation discs, and I think I may. No, I don't. I was going to say, I may have my original copy of Final Fantasy VII floating around here somewhere. But, so, because of how they're developing this game and putting it together, they are expanding the opening area of the game and the first, we'll say the first third, because I think when they originally announced it and originally started talking about it, they were talking about breaking it up into 3 pieces. I could be wrong on that. They could just be breaking it up into 1. But for those of you who have played the game before, this game ends at the escape from Midgar. So once you do everything within the city and you get ready to leave, that's where the first part of the game ends. Like I said, there's a couple of other games coming out. Resident Evil 3 comes out as well. Big fan of that series, but like Final Fantasy VII is
When the fuck am I getting the other half of the game? I've never played this game. What the fuck? It's already
We don't
been
know yet. We don't know.
Good things come to those who wait.
I waited for Animal Crossing.
I have a strong feeling that like shortly after April 10th,
Yeah.
Square Enix is going to announce when the second and third parts are coming. They're holding all of that close to the chest until the game's out. People play it. They have a week or two with it to where they could potentially get through it. But they've tightened up story elements. The game looks beautiful.
Yeah.
True fact. And I've
2025. Trey says it'll be out in 2025.
as long as it took them to get this one out, I wouldn't be surprised. But no, true fact, the character models in the game look better than, for those of you who know it, Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, which was a sequel movie that came out 10 years ago. It was a fully CG rendered movie. It was built by the same studio that did the Spirits Within movie. So like hyper realistic photo real textures on all the character models. The game looks better than that movie does in every aspect.
Shit.
Every aspect. So Final Fantasy VII is.
Well, now I'm gonna have to play it. Now I'm gonna. Have to play it.
If you have a PS4, you need to own this game.
Nice.
It just simply comes down to that.
Yeah.
You need to buy it. You need to steal it. You need to mug somebody for their copy. You own this
You heard
game.
him, Andy. Stick them up.
Right?
You need to pause Animal Crossing and try this.
I'm gonna tell him to square up.
Like the little tarantula. I'm done. Mine, I guess, the third game I kind of am looking forward to that I didn't realize was coming out until we saw the list was Minecraft Dungeons. For the same reason Brandon talked about before the show, is playing with my kids is going to be pretty fun. And I suck at it, but that's the great thing about Minecraft.
Me
is
too.
You don't have to be good at it to enjoy it when you're playing with friends and playing with people. Yeah, that's why I like Animal Crossing. I don't got to fast react unless there's a tarantula around.
Tarantula?
But other than that, I can take my sweet time and go fishing. That's more my speed, man. But no, I would say Minecraft Dungeons the one I'm looking for. So that'll probably be, more than likely, we'll be doing Final Fantasy review our next show, because the gaming podcast is going to come out not as frequently as our regular podcast. It's going to come out when we have games we want to talk about, or when the latest trailers get dropped, or there's new presentations on things. But yeah, that's our suggestions for April, guys, and that's pretty much our show. That was our first podcast that we did. I think it went extremely well, despite the fact nobody can fucking hear me on Facebook. We got some Twitch engagement too. Somebody said they completely agree with Brandon on his thoughts about the Xbox and PC being superior. But yeah, I love the show. I'll fix my mic. I don't know what the fuck or how anything's even wrong with it, but I'm pretty sure I have the wrong head on it, because it has these little heads.
Oh my god.
Oh, now we can't hear you at all. We hear lightsabers. I was
gonna say, it sounds like the aliens from, what's it, War of the Worlds?
Yeah, that too.
So that wasn't the issue at all then. Maybe it wasn't screwed in all the way? I have no idea. I'll figure it the fuck out.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, what? You hear me
all the
better?
static went away. All the static went away. Yeah, that actually does sound a little bit better.
Oh yeah.
Maybe it wasn't attached all the way.
Oh, nope, static's back.
Nah, son of a... Oh, I think I know what the static is. Okay, I need a new cable. The cable's the issue. All right, thank you guys for helping me tech support that. But that is our podcast. If you have any name suggestions, please feel free to drop the names in the comments, or on our Facebook page, or on the Con Culture Podcast Instagram, wherever you want to send them to us. Andy suggested one, but it's really dirty, and I still recommend that you go Google Two Girls. It was along those lines. But I want to thank Andy, and I want to thank Brendan for being on here with me. And this was so much fun, guys. Thank you all for watching across Twitch, guys. And we'll get Mixer working next time. So you'll be seeing our face next month in April. Stay safe, stay quarantined. Anything you guys want to say before we sign off?
Wash your hands. Everyone, wash your hands.
That's it. Wash your hands.
If you have absolutely no reason to go out, which most of us don't right now because a lot of places are doing free delivery for everything, just stay inside. Like, just stay inside, chill.
Yeah.
There's no reason for anybody to go out there unless they absolutely need to. Just
Play
stay
Animal
inside,
Crossing.
play video
Yeah.
games, watch TV, nap, whatever.
We were
just
made for this, guys. Come on, it's our time
Exactly.
to shine.
think of it this way. The longer this goes on, the harder it's going to be for you to get your games anyway. And there's a game coming out in September. I'm waiting for this one. Everybody's waiting for
The
this
Ghost
one.
of Tsushima?
No,
No, that's
Bigger.
the only game I'm waiting for. Sorry.
bigger than that.
I ruined
Bigger
it.
than that. There's a certain cyberpunk game
Oh,
coming out
shit.
in September.
Yes.
And if
I
my
know.
order is delayed for that, because I was lucky enough to get the collector's edition
Yeah.
on
Oh, nice.
on PC. If that gets delayed, I'm going to be very upset. So
Yeah.
stay inside, wash your hands, stay healthy.
Do it for
and
Cyberpunk.
Don't
Yes.
deny me my game because that is my birthday month.
You heard her. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you all next
Thanks,
time.
guys.
Bye.